So everyone tells you that Virginia Beach is this gorgeous coastal paradise with the beach lifestyle and the military community and the lower cost of living compared to places like DC or California. And all of that is technically true, but nobody warns you that if you buy in the wrong neighborhood, your work from home Zoom calls are going to get interrupted by an F-18 Super Hornet flying about 500 feet over your roof, and there's nothing you can do about it once you close on that house. Hey friends, I'm Sonali Hudson, and I've helped hundreds of families relocate to Virginia Beach and Hampton Roads over the last 10 years. I specialize in helping Christians move with clarity, protect their finances, and choose homes that align with their budget and their values. And the number one thing I hear from people about 6 months after they move here, I wish somebody told me this before I bought the house. So today I'm walking you through the 5 realities of living in Virginia Beach that nobody talks about until it's way too late. We're covering the jet noise that rattles your windows, the flooding that happens even when there's no hurricane, the tourist traffic that takes over the ocean front every summer, the commute surprises that can turn a 20-minute drive into a 90-minute nightmare, and the hidden cost that adds hundreds of dollars a month to your budget that you didn't see coming. Now, by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what you're walking into. And if you still love Virginia Beach after all of this, great, you're gonna be prepared and you're gonna make a smart buying decision. But if you realize this isn't the right fit for your family, even better, I just saved you from making a $400,000 mistake that would have cost you way more than money. It would have cost you your peace. Now, let's start with the one that shocks people the most, and that's the jet noise. I've been talking about it a lot in recent videos. Okay, so here's the deal. NAS Oceana is one of the largest master jet bases on the entire East Coast. It's home to the FA-18 Super Hornet, and if you've never lived near a military flight training facility, let me be really clear with you. This is not background noise, okay? This is not like living near a highway where you kind of tune it out after a couple of weeks and it just becomes white noise. These jets rattle your windows, they stop outdoor conversations mid-sentence, and if you're on a conference call in your backyard, you're gonna hit mute and wait for the jets to pass. Now, some people genuinely do not mind it at all. A lot of my military clients grew up around bases, they're used to it, and for them, it's just part of the rhythm of their lives. Now, some people even love it because we call it the sound of freedom, and I respect that wholeheartedly. But if you're coming from a quiet suburban neighborhood in the Midwest, or if you've been living in a rural area where the loudest thing you hear is a lawnmower on a Saturday morning, honey, this is going to be a major adjustment for you. So I want to make sure that you're aware. Now, the part that catches people off guard is the flight patterns can change seasonally. So what sounds quiet and peaceful in February when you're touring homes can become really loud in July when training operations ramp up. I've had clients fall in love with the house during a Saturday morning showing. They could close on it, they move in a few months later during peak flight season, and then they realize they're directly under an approach path they never even heard during their home tour. And at that point, there's nothing you can do about it because guess what? You now own the house. Okay, so let me show you what this actually looks like on the map. Here's the map right here. So this is the ACU's map. That stands for Air Installation Compatible Use Zone. And it shows you the jet noise contours around Noise Oceana and Dam Neck. You see those red and orange zones? That's where the noise is constant and unavoidable. Neighborhoods like Ocean Lakes, Red Mill, and the southern parts of Princess Anne near Dam Neck Naval Base, you're directly under the flight path in those areas. So if you're looking at any of those neighborhoods, you need to visit them on a weekday afternoon when the base is fully operational. Not on a Sunday, not on a holiday weekend, a regular Tuesday at 2 in the afternoon. Spend some real time there. Go have dinner, sit in backyards, walk around the block. See what it actually feels like when those jets are flying overhead every 20 minutes. Now again, once you close on the house, you can't undo it. And jet noise is one of those things where you either tune it out over time or it would drive you absolutely crazy. There's really no middle ground. So if you're even slightly noise sensitive, please pay attention to the map and plan accordingly because this is something that you need to know before you fall in love with a house. Does that make sense, friends? Now let's talk about flooding because flooding is one that surprises people even more than the jet noise. Okay, so when you think about flooding in Virginia Beach, you're probably picturing oceanfront homes during a hurricane, right? Storm surge, beachfront properties, that makes sense. But here's what shocks people who are new to the area. Flooding in Virginia Beach is not just a coastal issue. It happens everywhere. And I'm not talking about once in a lifetime hurricanes. I'm talking about a random Tuesday in June when it rains hard for 2 hours and your entire street turns into a river and you can't get your car out of the neighborhood. In certain areas, it's a reality. This is what we call nuisance flooding or sunny day flooding. It happens during king tides when the moon is full and the water table is high. It happens when we get a heavy downpour and the storm drains can't keep up with the volume. And it can make roads completely impassable, even in neighborhoods that are miles inland from the ocean. Let me show you the flood zone map so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's a picture of the flood zone map. Okay, so this is the FEMA flood zone map for Virginia Beach. See all those blue zones? Those are high risk flood zone areas. They're marked as AE zones and VE zones. And if you're buying a house in one of those zones and you have a mortgage, flood insurance is going to be mandatory. It's not optional. Your lender is going to require you to carry it. But here's what catches people off guard. Notice how those blue zones are not just at the beach. Look at Kempsville, Princess Anne, Hilltop. These are inland neighborhoods that are nowhere near the ocean front, but they flood regularly depending on the time of year and depending on the tide. Now, I've had clients get trapped in their own neighborhood because the only road out was underwater from a king tide. I've seen people miss work because their street flooded overnight and they couldn't go get their car through. And this isn't rare. It happens multiple times a year in certain areas in Virginia Beach and Norfolk. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. Here's the financial piece that actually matters. Flood insurance in those AE and VE zones can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a year. That's an extra $170 to $400 a month on top of your mortgage payment. And that $400 a month, that's going to kill your buying power ability about $50,000. So I just want you to be aware. If you thought you could afford a $450,000 house, you might only qualify for $400,000 once your lender factors in that mandatory flood insurance requirement. And a lot of buyers don't find this out until they're already under contract. And by that point, they're emotionally attached to the house and they either have to back out or they end up stretching their budget way tighter than they want it to do. And I want you guys to avoid that. So this is why I'm making this video. No, it doesn't mean that. That's not what I'm saying. It just means you need to know before you fall in love with the house. Get an elevation certificate for the property. Get a flood insurance quote for that specific address before you make an offer. Don't wait until you're in the middle of the contract process and your lender tells you, hey, you got to get some flood insurance and you didn't budget it and you start panicking. It's nothing to panic about if you're prepared. See, I love being able to help you keep your wealth more than I love real estate. I'd rather talk you out of a flood-prone house than watch you drain your savings on insurance premiums that you didn't even see coming. See, that's what good stewardship looks like, and that's why I'm telling you this now before you start looking at homes. All right, let's talk about the tourists in Virginia Beach, because this is a major love-hate situation for people who live in the Virginia Beach area. Now, on one hand, Virginia Beach's tourism industry is what makes this city so vibrant. The restaurants, the boardwalk, the festivals, the live music, the craft breweries, the farmers markets, all of that exists because millions of people visit the city every single year. And as a local, you get to enjoy all of those amenities without staying in a hotel or dealing with travel year-round. That's a huge pro. But from Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day weekend, the oceanfront area becomes a completely different place. And I mean completely different. Atlantic Avenue and the boardwalk area turn into bumper-to-bumper traffic. Parking at the beach costs $15 to $20 just to find a parking spot. Your favorite breakfast place that normally has a 10-minute wait, now it's 45 minutes to an hour and a half on a Saturday morning. The grocery stores near the oceanfront are packed all hours of the day during the tourist season. And here's what most locals do during the summer. We avoid the resort areas entirely. If you live in Great Neck, Kempsville, or Princess Anne, you're probably not going to the oceanfront on a July weekend. You drive over to the Chesapeake Bay side where it's quieter, where there's less congestion, or you'll just wait until October when the tourists go back home and you have your city back, okay? So if you're moving here with this vision of walking up to the beach every weekend and it being peaceful and relaxing, well, that's only realistic if you live in one of the walkable beach neighborhoods at the North End or in Shadow Lawn. And those homes start at $600,000 and go way up from there. So the rest of us live 10 to 20 minutes inland and we plan our beach trips strategically around the tourist season and the weekday schedule. So I hope that helps you. Now let's talk about the commute, because traffic in Hampton Roads is not like traffic in other cities. It's not volume, it's bottlenecks. And let me tell you what I mean. So this is Google Maps with the traffic layer turned on during a typical weekday evening around 5 p.m. See the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel right there? That's the main artery that connects the peninsula side to Newport News and Hampton with the south side, which is Virginia Beach, Norfolk, and Chesapeake. If there's an accident in that tunnel, and trust me, there is an accident at least once a week, a 20-minute commute turns into a 90-minute nightmare. And there's no alternative route. You are just stuck. You're sitting in traffic, breathing into a paper bag, wondering why you ever moved here and questioning your entire existence. And it's not just a bridge tunnel, okay? Virginia Beach has drawbridges all over the place. The Lesnar Bridge, the North Landing Bridge. If you live near one of those and you have to cross it to get to work every day, you're gonna sit through bridge lifts. A boat might come through, the bridge goes up, and you're waiting 10 to 15 minutes for that boat to pass. And that happens multiple times a day during boating season. So it's just something that you need to be aware of, and you'll get used to it. So here's what I tell every single one of my clients. Test your commute during the exact hours that you're actually going to be driving. If you work at Oceana and you're looking at a house in Chesapeake, get in your car on a Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. and drive that route. Drive it home at 5 p.m. on a Thursday. See what it actually feels like. Don't trust Google Maps to tell you that it's going to be a 23-minute ride, because one fender bender in that tunnel is going to change everything, and suddenly you're late to work and you're stressed out before your day even starts. Now, flooding is going to make the commute worse. A king tide can flood Shore Drive, Laskin Road, parts of Great Neck roads that you thought were totally fine suddenly become impassable. I've seen people take 2 hours to get home from work because their normal route was completely underwater and they had to reroute through neighborhoods that they never even driven in before. All right, the last thing that I want to talk about are the hidden costs, because this one can sneak up on a lot of people, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. Now, Virginia Beach looks really affordable on paper, especially if you're coming from California, DC, or the Northeast. The median home price here is around $400,000. Virginia doesn't tax military retirement pay, which is a huge benefit for the veteran population here. Gas is usually cheaper, groceries are cheaper, and the overall cost of living is gonna feel lower. But if you move up here and you started adding up all of the ancillary costs that you didn't budget for, like flood insurance, which is gonna be $2,000 to $5,000 a year in a high-risk zone. Now, some flood insurance can be as low as $600 a year. HOA fees in most neighborhoods are gonna run anywhere from $50 to maybe $300 a month, depending on the community. Wind and hail insurance, which is separate from your regular homeowner's policy, can cost another $800 to $1,200 annually. And your car insurance goes up because you're now in a coastal hurricane risk zone. So let me show you how this adds up in real numbers. A $400,000 house with a 20% down payment gives you a mortgage payment of around $2,200 a month. But once you add in flood insurance at $300 a month, an HOA fee at $200 a month, wind and hail insurance is $75 a month, your total monthly housing cost is now closer to $3,000. And that doesn't even include utilities, lawn care, or overall maintenance of your house, or food. So when you're budgeting for your move to Virginia Beach, I don't want you to just look at the mortgage payment and assume that's what you're going to pay every month. Look at the total cost of ownership, because those extra $500 to $800 a month in fees can either kill your buying power or stretch your budget way tighter than you expected. See, HOAs are everywhere in Virginia Beach. Ocean Lakes, Red Mill, Great Neck, Princess Anne, Shadow Lawn, the newer subdivisions out in Pungo, almost every neighborhood has an HOA. Some of them are really low key, $50 a month, and they mow the common areas, they maintain the playground, no big deal. But others are $300 a month and they have strict rules. No RV parking in your driveway, no boats, no sheds or fences without architectural committee approval. Some HOAs even regulate what color you can paint your front door. So before you close on a house, read the full HOA disclosure package, read the bylaws, make sure you know what you're agreeing to, because once you own that property, you're gonna be bound by those rules whether you like them or not. So does all of this mean that Virginia Beach is a bad place to live? Friends, absolutely not. I love Virginia Beach. My clients love it here. The beach lifestyle, the military community, the outdoor activities, the restaurants, the sense of community. It is an incredible place to live, to raise a family, to worship, and to start a new chapter in your life. But you have to go in with your eyes wide open, not wide shut. You need to know about the jet noise before you start touring houses. You need to understand the flood zones and insurance costs before you make an offer. You need to test your commute before you sign a lease, and you need to budget for the real total cost of living here, not just what the mortgage calculator tells you. Now, if you want the jet noise map and the flood zone checklist that I just showed you in this video, they're inside my free Virginia Beach relocation guide. Now, the link is right below this video. It's in the comments. Grab it before you start house hunting, because it's going to save you so much time and so many headaches, my friends. But here's the thing, okay? Knowing the realities is only half the battle. You also need to know which neighborhood actually actually fits your life. Because buying in the wrong neighborhood is a mistake that costs you way more than money. It costs you your peace, it can cost you your joy, and it can cost you the ability to actually enjoy living in Virginia Beach. So in the next video, I'm breaking down the best neighborhoods in Virginia Beach for 2026, who they're for, what they actually cost, the school zones, the flood risk, and the commute times, all of it. You know what, friends? Every single day, people just like you reach out to me because they want to relocate to Hampton Roads, and I absolutely love providing them with the information that they need to make confident real estate decisions. And that's exactly why I have created several comprehensive home buyer and home seller relocation guides that are gonna blow you away. And guess what, guys? They are absolutely free. I'm talking completely free. That's right, friends. These guides have everything you wanna know. I'm talking neighborhood breakdowns, market insights, moving timelines, school information, and all the insider knowledge that we talk about on this channel. All you have to do is click the link in the description below, and I'll send these incredible resources right over to you. Friends, thank you so much for watching my channel. Your support absolutely means the world to me, and I will see you in the next video. God bless you.